Today's lesson is called Camino de Santiago, the walk of a lifetime. Hello everyone, my name is Jeff.
I am called Roger, and today we're going for a little bit of a walk. Maybe it's a little bit of a hike. We're going to travel all the way to Spain in Europe there and check out the Camino de Santiago. We're describing this as the walk of a lifetime.
There you go, Camino de Santiago. So it's Santiago's road or Santiago's walk, I believe that's how you would translate that from the Spanish. I believe that camino means road. You are the Spanish guy here, Roger. You're very good with the language. Is that correct? Camino, road?
Yeah, highway, road.
Highway.
It means that, yeah.
There you go. So this is the path, the way, the road, the walk of Santiago, which would be a Spanish name there. And apparently this isn't just any old walk. In fact, it's not only just a single road or a single way, a single path, a single highway, or anything like that. One, it's the walk of a lifetime, which means it's going to be something that you'll never forget, okay? It's that good of a walk. But on top of that, this walk of a lifetime, it's not a single walk either. The Camino de Santiago. There are many paths that you can follow, but all roads apparently lead to one place. But that one place is not Madrid. Apparently, this walk, it's going to end at a place called Santiago de Compostela. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a short break. But when we come back, we'll start reading from our article called Camino de Santiago, the Walk of a Lifetime.
Camino de Santiago, the Walk of a Lifetime. If you're visiting Spain but want to avoid the hustle and bustle or the tour buses, a rewarding option is to walk along the Camino de Santiago. It comprises several routes that wind through some of Spain's most picturesque towns before ending at Santiago de Compostela. In the Middle Ages, Santiago de Compostela was considered a holy city, thought to be the final resting place of St. James, one of Christ's 12 disciples. Millions of pilgrims from all over Europe made their way to the divine site via the Camino.
大家好，第一部分我们看到形容词 rewarding， 指有意义的、值得的，像是 The time I spent studying in Germany was a very rewarding experience. 我在德国读书的经验非常值得。再来，我们看到单字 comprise， 这个字是动词，指包含由组成，像是 The Middle East comprises several countries, including Egypt, Syria, and Turkey. 中东由7个国家组成，包括埃及、叙利亚及土耳其。或是 Our team is comprised of 4 people. 我们队伍由4个人组成。接着，我们看到一个形容词 divine， 指神圣的，像是 I don't know how you escaped that burning building.The only explanation is divine intervention. 我不知道你如何逃出那栋失火的大楼，唯一的解释是神机降临。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以指极好的、非凡的。我们可以说 Ted, your dessert is just divine. I think I'll steal another bite. Ted, 你的点心真是人间美味，我想我要再偷吃一口。
Okay, so this is something you might only have the chance to do once in your life, and it's going to be a really great experience. It will be difficult to do anything as exciting as this, so that's why we are describing it as the walk of a lifetime. Maybe hiking up Yushan would be the hike of a lifetime if you've ever done that before. But in any case, we're not in Taiwan. We are in Spain. If you're visiting Spain but want to avoid the hustle and bustle of the tour buses, a rewarding option is to walk along the Camino de Santiago. So, yes, indeed, Spain is a popular tourist destination in Europe. not everybody goes to the UK or to France or Germany or Italy. Lots of people also go to Spain. And when you do that, you may get involved in a tour group, a package tour or something like that. And you will be shuffled around in tour buses. That's why we're saying the hustle and bustle of tour buses, which means it's kind of busy. You kind of feel like you're cattle being shuffled all around the place. Maybe you want to kind of get out by yourself and do some hiking. So yes, indeed, you might want to avoid that with this rewarding option of the Camino de Santiago. Something's rewarding when it is beneficial to you and you really like it and it helps you out with something.
There you go. If you have a rewarding pastime, okay, whenever you partake in that pastime, that hobby or something like that, it gives something back to you, okay? It makes you feel good. It's rewarding. You do it and something good comes out of it. And apparently, yes, if you're in Spain and you want to stay away from the hustle and bustle there of the tour buses, yes, they're very busy there and hectic and frenetic. If you want to stay away from that stuff, okay, you can do something like, I don't know, take a walk along the Camino de Santiago. Now, more on this walk, the Camino de Santiago. It comprises several routes that wind through some of Spain's most picturesque towns before ending at Santiago de Compostela. So all roads in Spain do lead to Madrid. But if you were to take the Camino de Santiago, all of those roads, those paths would lead apparently to Santiago de Compostela, or at least all of these routes, these several routes, they end at this particular place. Yes, the Camino de Santiago comprises several routes.
Yep, it involves or contains lots of different routes. You could also pronounce this word route. Lots of routes, lots of routes, different ways to get from point A to point B. So you've got lots of choices there. So yes, you have lots of routes that wind through some of Spain's most picturesque towns before you end up at Santiago de Compostela. So here we've also got the word wind. You can wind up your watch, for example, if you're using old watches. Most watches nowadays are quartz or they're automatic where they wind themselves. But wind here does not mean to wind up your watch. It's referring to roads that kind of go left and right through the mountains. So yes, these routes wind through these picturesque towns. You could say some of the highways in the central mountain range wind through mountainous areas. But indeed, these routes wind through some of the most picturesque towns in Spain. Picturesque just means, they're so beautiful, you want to take pictures of them.
Yeah, take a picture and put it on a postcard. It's just that pretty. These towns are definitely picturesque. But here's the question. Why do all these routes end at Santiago de Compostela? Well, we'll talk about that right now. Get this. In the Middle Ages, Santiago de Compostela was considered a holy city, thought to be the final resting place of St. James, one of Christ's 12 disciples. So there you go. Back in the day, in the Middle Ages there, apparently people in Spain, they made pilgrimages to the Santiago de Compostela because they wanted to see the grave or the final resting place of St. James. And that's why there are all these routes, ways, paths that lead you to Santiago de Compostela, because people in the Christian nation of Spain there, they wanted to visit one of these very famous Christian destinations in Spain.
Yes, the final resting place where someone has been buried. I could say the founder of my hometown, her final resting place is in Oak Hill Cemetery, but here the final resting place of St. James is in Santiago de Compostela. So if you're into looking at graves, this is the place for you. Who was St. James? Well, he was one of Christ's 12 disciples. A disciple, of course, is somebody who follows somebody else in a religion, or they follow some kind of leader, especially if it's a religious leader, the disciples of Christ. I think they were called the 12 apostles, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, you could say apostle, you could say disciple, and yes, this is kind of a serious term, okay? Let's say you like Jay Cho. You might follow him on Facebook. You might be a fan. You're not a disciple or an apostle, though, of J. Cho. Let's say you did decide to become a disciple or an apostle, which people don't really do that often anymore. But if you wanted to become one, you would probably have to join a religious sect and follow a master very closely in that religious sect. And then you would be a disciple or an apostle of that particular master. Anyways, moving on, the next sentence says, millions of pilgrims from all over Europe made their way to the divine site via the Camino. There you go. Earlier I said that people in Spain there made pilgrimages to visit this holy site. Well, that's partially true, but get this, it was even bigger than that. People from all over Europe apparently made pilgrimages to this holy site. Yes, it says here that millions of pilgrims from all over Europe made their way to this divine holy site via this road. By the way, the word I just used before was pilgrimage, okay? You might notice that this word pilgrimage is a lot like the word pilgrim.
It is indeed. So these pilgrims back in European history made their way to this site. To make your way to some place means to go from point A to point B, but it's usually a long journey and it involves maybe lots of turns and it will take some time. So they made their way there. They found themselves going to this divine, holy, spiritual site via Camino de Santiago. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. We'll come back in just a second with the next part.
Today, the Camino's most popular route is the French Way, as it passes through several key towns. The first is Pamplona, known for its Running of the Bulls festival, medieval cathedrals, and atmospheric cafes. Next, there is León, an architectural gem that combines first-century Roman ruins and modern buildings such as Casa Botines, designed by Antoni Gaudí.
第二部分，我们看到形容词 medieval 指中世纪的，例如 In Germany, I stayed in a medieval castle that had been turned into a hotel. 在德国时，我住在改造成旅馆的一座中世纪城堡。再来，我们看到单字 atmospheric 这个字是形容词，指富有情调的，营造独特氛围的。举例来说 Linda took me to an atmospheric restaurant last night. Linda 昨晚带我去一间富有情调的餐厅。另外，除了上面的意思，这个字还可以指大气的、大气中的，像是 The atmospheric conditions make the planet unsuitable for life. 这颗星球的大气条件不适合生存。最后，我们看到形容词 architectural 指建筑上的、建筑学的。举例来说 Florence is famous for its architectural beauty. Florence 以其美丽的建筑闻名。或是 There are hundreds of fine architectural works in the city, and many of them are old churches. 此城市有上百座美丽的建筑作品，其中大多数是古老教堂。
Welcome back, everyone. We just learned that millions of pilgrims from all over Europe made their way to this divine site, the grave of St. James there, via the Camino de Santiago. By the way, yes, when a person like this, okay, is taking a journey like this to see a very famous or holy site, you'd call those people pilgrims in this particular situation. I just wanted to make that known. Anyways, today, though, we're not going to talk about the Middle Ages anymore. Today, the Camino's most popular route is the French Way, as it passes through several key towns. So there you go. We've got this famous Spanish road, but the most famous route amongst these Spanish roads is called the French Way. Interesting. Anyways, the French Way, it passes through several key towns. You probably have to get to Spain via France, okay? So in this particular situation, if you're moving across Europe perhaps and you enter France, it makes sense to take the French Way before you get into Spain. Anyways, though, several key towns. Now, the first is Pamplona, known for its Running of the Bulls festival, medieval cathedrals, and also atmospheric cafes.
Yeah, you've probably heard of the Running of the Bulls Festival. I think that's 奔牛节, Running of the Bulls Festival. Running means they let them run loose, and of course lots of people get run over by the bulls. And of course that's what this place is famous for. It's also famous for its medieval cathedrals and also the atmospheric cafes. A cathedral is a big church, especially in Europe, of the Catholic Church. I think there's one in England called Winchester Cathedral, but we won't talk about that right now. We will talk about medieval here. That means having to do with the Middle Ages. So yeah, you can see some really historic churches if you go the French way.
The Middle Ages, or you can say medieval or medieval times. Both pronunciations are okay. Medieval or medieval, just be careful with the spelling. M-E-D-I-E-V-A-L. So there are medieval cathedrals, you got the Running of the Bulls Festival, and also atmospheric cafes. If you go to these cafes, they're going to make you feel good. They've got a great atmosphere, a great tone to them. You will respond positively as far as your mood is concerned if you sit in one of these cafes. Anyways, the first town was Pamplona. The next is León.
Yes, León is an architectural gem that combines first-century Roman ruins and modern buildings, such as Casa Botines, designed by Antoni Gaudí. So, yes, this is another town, León, and we're describing it as an architectural gem. Architectural means having to do with architecture, so you can expect to see lots of fine buildings there. A gem is a jewel. It's really something valuable, and we've got Roman ruins there, which are old buildings from the Roman Empire that are kind of still standing, but for the most part, they've kind of fallen down. That's why we call them ruins. And then we've got modern buildings as well. So it's a combination of Roman ruins and modern buildings. And our example here is Casa Botines, which is a modern building designed by Antoni Gaudí. There you go.
For example, for this word ruins, you could say the city of Rome contains the ruins of many important architectural sites. Yeah, the center of the Roman Empire was the city of Rome. They built a lot of great stuff there thousands of years ago, but since then it has fallen apart. So there are a lot of ruins in this city. And yes, usually you will see the noun ruins with that S at the end. You can say a ruin, but for the most part, in a situation like this, you will retain that S. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a short break here, but when we come back, we'll wrap up the first part of our article on Camino de Santiago.
Moving along, you'll arrive at Astorga, where you won't want to miss the Chocolate Museum. Here, besides learning about the history of chocolate making, you can pick up some sweet samples for the rest of your walk. Finally, you'll come across the town of O Cebrero. Its Hobbit-style houses make the town look like something right out of The Lord of the Rings.
Okay, let's move on to the third part of today's lesson. We've gone to Pamplona and we've gone to León on the French way of El Camino de Santiago. So moving along to the next town, you'll arrive at Astorga, where you won't want to miss the Chocolate Museum. So yes, they probably have chocolate there as well, and a museum where you can go learn more about chocolate. So here, besides learning about the history of chocolate making, you can pick up some sweet samples for the rest of your walk. So here, pick up, not literally using your hand to reach down and pick something up, but it kind of means you can buy some, maybe sample some, and save them for the rest of your walk.
And then finally, you'll come across the town of O Cebrero. Its Hobbit-style houses make the town look like something right out of The Lord of the Rings. There you go. So this town is fantastic. The houses are a bit strange, but still cool. These houses are in Hobbit style, or we say they're Hobbit style houses, i.e. they kind of look like the houses the hobbits live in from The Lord of the Rings. How cool. All right, that's it for part 1 of our lesson on Camino de Santiago, but don't go away. We'll come back next time with part 2 of our lesson. For now, it's time to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分的最后一句有提到说 Millions of pilgrims from all over Europe made their way to the divine site via the Camino. 来自欧洲各地的数百万名朝圣者经由朝圣之路一路来到这个圣地。那句中用到这个介系词 via 或者是有人念作 via V-I-A， 它表示经由、透过或是凭借。像我们可能常看到 via email 表示透过电子邮件， via the internet透过网络， via Chicago 经由芝加哥等等。那像文中的 via the Camino 是指说经由朝圣之路的意思。那至于片语 make one's way， 它是指前进前往，后面可以接表示方向地点的副词，像 make one's way home 表示回家， make one's way 后面我们也常常会接 to toward through 或是 into 再加地方。举例来说Paul made his way to the stage when his name was called. 当 Paul 的名字被叫到的时候，他走向舞台，向舞台方向前进。好，另外这个片语也可以比喻说一路顺遂发展的意思。我们可以用 make one's way in something 来表达在某方面靠自己获得成功。例如 Samantha is making her way in the fashion industry. Samantha 在时尚界逐渐有所成就。好，课文第三部分介绍完这个巧克力博物馆之后，他写到说最后你会来到欧塞夫雷罗镇。好，那这边他用到一个片语是 come across。 come across 的用法主要有分成两类，是及物用跟不及物用。第一种是当及物用表示碰见、巧遇或是偶然发现，那它的意思就会跟 bump into、 run into、run across、 come upon 等等相同。那后面可以接人或是事物，像是 He came across an old friend on his way home. 他在回家途中碰巧遇见一位老朋友。We came across a nice Swedish restaurant a few days ago. 我们前几天偶然发现一间很不错的瑞典餐厅。好，那么第二个用法是不及物用法。这时候 come across 它表示使产生什么样的印象，后面可以接 as 加上名词或是形容词来表达给人什么样的印象或感觉，表现得怎么样。例如 She came across as a very intelligent person. 她给人的印象是非常聪明的人。那我们也可以在 come across 后面接 negatively 或是 well 等等的副词来修饰。例如 He came across badly during the interview. 在面试过程中他给人的印象很差。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Comprise. The first year class comprises international students from different countries. Route. This route is more beautiful than the other one, but takes several hours longer to drive through. Disciple. This famous painting shows Jesus and his disciples at their final meal together. Pilgrim. Pilgrims sailed from England to America in hopes of religious freedom. Divine. To some people, the words written in the Bible are divine. Cathedral. The cathedral was completely rebuilt after a fire burned it down. Ruin. On this spot lie the ruins of the castle.
Okay, everyone. With that, today's article is now complete. But, as always, we sure hope that you guys have enjoyed reading along with us. Anyways, I'm Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.